If you're building a business right now, this might be the most important video you'll ever watch because what I'm about to show you can literally save your business and your future. I don't teach theory, I teach the lessons learned from the courtroom, the boardroom, and the battlefield. In this video, I'm giving you my Legally Bulletproof business defense system. This is the stuff you wish you knew before you got burned, and best of all, stay until the end where I'll give you my proprietary business defense self-audit that you can download and complete that will summarize the important points of this video and show you where you might be vulnerable to business threats you need to fix right away. This audit is part of my $7,500 business defense mastermind and the first step towards bulletproofing your business like a boss. Let's dive in. Hey, I'm Karam, aka the battle-tested lawyer, entrepreneur, and founder of the Legally Bulletproof Academy. For nearly 20 years, I've been fighting for entrepreneurs in courtrooms and boardrooms. I've built businesses, closed deals, and litigated cases for entrepreneurs who are either building empires or trying to survive a legal nightmare. Entrepreneurs don't lose because of a lack of effort or they can't sell or market. They lose because they didn't protect what they were building, and they didn't have someone in their corner to teach them the truth before it was too late. That's why I created the Legally Bulletproof Academy, to give entrepreneurs the right mindset and skills, the protective legal strategies. Before you can build a defense, you need to know what you're defending against. And in business, just like in war, your enemies aren't always obvious. I've identified what I call the 5 C's. Some of these enemies come from the outside. Some of them are inside your business, and one of them is very close to you. Let's break them down. Enemy number 1, the customer. Most entrepreneurs don't realize that their own customers can be their biggest enemies. Chargebacks, complaints, lawsuits, disparagement, false expectations, and fraud. All of it. You say the wrong thing in your marketing. You promise too much in your Hormozy-styled irresistible offers. You overpromise or don't clearly define your client's expectations, and now you've violated the law you didn't even know existed, and your customers become your enemies. Why? Because they're not happy with your services. For whatever reason, and I've seen a million reasons, I've seen entrepreneurs sued out of business by people they were trying to help, and that's just the nature of business. So your defense is clarity, compliance, and battle-tested contracts. Not only do these things build trust, they protect you as well. You need to make your offer legally bulletproof, your marketing tight, and your promises realistic and transparent with your client. That means have clear client expectations set forth in writing, service contracts that protect against the never satisfied client. Have an experienced attorney by your side that you can consult with when it comes to client issues, and have a best practice dispute resolution in place, because it's always client issues, problems, and liabilities that could have been prevented with the right client service agreement that's legally bulletproof and restricts the client from taking your IP, disparaging you, or otherwise using and abusing you just like an enemy would. So let's move on to enemy number 2, your competitors. These are the people who want your customers, your market share, your secrets. They'll file complaints, claim trademark infringement, call regulators, and even try to poach your team. They'll try to steal your confidential data and your know-how. And trust me, the more successful you become, the more these enemies appear, and the more you become a target. Your defense: protect your IP both offensively and defensively. Keep a tight compliance house and always monitor and set traps for your competition. I mean, legal traps. So make sure you trademark your brand, lock down your systems, have the right contracts and practical tools in place to protect your assets. And when necessary, when you know your competitor is in attack mode, fire a warning shot. Send them a stern cease and desist if they're infringing on your mark. Let them know you actively monitor and protect your business. You have a business defense system. That's how you eliminate competitors. You want your competitors to know that you understand business is war. You want them to know you've got battle-tested contracts, a real business defense system, and a 20-year lawyer protecting you. That's the key with competitors. They need to know and see that you've got legal firepower and a bulletproof business that they can't infiltrate. And that's the best way to stop them before they get in your way. Enemy number 3, the challengers. These are the people within your business or personal circle. Partners, employees, ex-friends, ex-lovers. They start off with you and end up trying to take what you've built. Disputes over ownership, unpaid commission, claims of discrimination, even fraud. These enemies are driven by greed, but mostly by envy, hate, and resentment, whether real or imagined. I've seen more nasty lawsuits from challengers than any competitor. With challengers, it's always personal. Your best friend, your most trusted partner, and even your family can turn on you and you'll never see it coming. So you got to defend yourself against these enemies. Don't trust or love in business. Always see the glass being half empty, and bulletproof your business with the right SOPs, contracts, and the right monitoring system, because at any time, these challengers appear from nowhere, and it's usually too late to defeat them. So if you're not structured properly, make sure you have all the power and that challengers don't have access to your power. That is your client list, your IP, your life. Make sure you have confidentiality agreements with real teeth, real liquidated damage provisions that are actually enforceable. Make sure you have strategies and systems in place along with contracts to warn you of challengers and deter them before they think about hurting your business. These challengers tend to be the hardest enemies to spot. I only learned about them after nearly 15 years of law and 40,000 plus hours of solving problems and seeing all of these issues with my own eyes. So enemy number 4 are the cops, aka the government. They're not really police, but this is really about compliance. And anyone from a governmental agency or anyone else who has some control of your business and your right to operate, that includes regulators, agencies, tax authorities, the FTC, the SEC, your state, your city, your landlord. These enemies don't play. They can freeze your accounts, shut you down, hit you with civil and even criminal liability. And guess what? Ignorance is no defense. It actually means that you're guilty and there's strict liability here. And these enemies, they'll close you down. They have subpoena power to go inside your business and see what's underneath the hood. And trust me, most businesses don't look good. They can look at your books, your phone, your accounts, and the courts will let them because the law, judges, the entire system is on their side, not yours, the entrepreneur, the underdog. So your defense, legal knowledge, compliance, proactive business defense strategies, and most importantly, having a relationship with an experienced attorney who can make your offense, that's your sales and marketing, legally bulletproof, not just from your clients and the challengers, but from the regulators. Remember, these enemies are really dangerous. Not only can they take your money and business, they can take away your freedom. Now, enemy number 5, that's the crown, aka your ego. This one is the trickiest, the sneakiest, and arguably the most dangerous. This enemy lives inside of you, and it's what makes you great, but it's also what can tear you down. It's your ego. Your ego makes you overpromise. It makes you trust the wrong people. It makes you skip the details, the contracts, the defense, because you've got it handled and you know it all. It tells you that you don't need a lawyer, you don't need a coach, and you don't need to be bulletproof because you'll never take a hit. And you're that good. So how do you defeat the ego? Number 1, humility. Number 2, a mindset shift from offense to defensive thinking. 3 is having a mentor who's a lawyer, an entrepreneur like you, someone who's already fought the battle so you don't have to, and someone who can tell you honestly and directly that your ego is talking too much. Someone with a record of losses, someone who's seen the pain, the mistakes that you can avoid, and someone with the scars of others like you who can convince you not to listen to your ego. Because the key is to learn from the mistakes of others so you don't have to live with them yourself. Now, your ego should really drive the vision, but not your decisions. And having a trusted, honest advisor by your side who's dealt with thousands of egos is your best defense against yourself. These are your enemies: customers, competitors, challengers, the cops, and your crown. And they don't care about your funnels, your followers, or your potential. They only care about what you didn't protect. And that's why defense is not optional. Defense is how you stay alive. It's how you win championships, not just in sports, but in business. So now let's talk about the 5 biggest danger zones in your business and the mistakes you need to avoid. And these are the dangerous areas where entrepreneurs love to play. Now that you know your enemies, let me show you exactly where they attack, because the biggest threats don't hit you in the obvious places. They hit you in your blind spots. And I've narrowed it down to 5 danger zones for the purpose of this video. There's a couple more, but these are the areas where your enemies will find you exploit you, and destroy you if you're not protected. Let's start with the most overlooked danger zone. Danger zone 1, your mindset and skills. Most entrepreneurs don't lose because of their product. They lose because of themselves, their mindset. The way you see risk, power, partnerships, and conflict is your crown. That's your ego. And if you don't train it right, it will sabotage you. Too many entrepreneurs believe that I'll just figure it out later, or I don't need help until there's a problem. I can do everything on my own, or my gut's enough and I'm the smartest one in the room. Those mindset fallacies might work in fantasy land, but in the real world, it's how you lose your business or your reputation, or worse. In almost every case I've handled, whether it's $1 million lawsuit or business falling apart from the inside, it always started with a mindset error, a blind spot, a lack of the right skills, tools, or beliefs to see the enemies coming. That's why danger zone number 1 is you, your own ego, your decisions, your own blind spots. And that's why at Legally Bulletproof, the first thing we teach is a set of 5 core beliefs to rewire your mindset to think like a warrior, not just a wishful thinker. They are, number 1, business is war. And if you're not ready for battle, you're not ready to win. Number 2, defense wins championships, not just in sports, but in business. Offense gets you the spotlight. Defense keeps you in the game and keeps you protected. Number 3, you've got to earn your trophies. There's no participation trophies in business. Real wins take grit, not hacks. Number 4, you got to learn from the mistakes of others. And I have plenty of those mistakes to teach you. And number 5, you got to be a proactive problem solver. Proactive defense means solve problems before they happen. And if you wait until it's on fire, it's already too late. And that's what I saw in my nearly 20-year career as a litigator. And on top of these beliefs, you get a 20-year lawyer to humble your ego, mentor you, and help you control your biggest enemy. This is how we build mental armor. Because if your mind is bulletproof, then your business will be next. In the next danger zones, I'll show you where most entrepreneurs get exposed and how to prevent it. Danger zone 2, let's talk about structure and compliance. This is what protects your personal assets and limits your liability only if it's done right. Here are 3 mistakes that I have seen cause entrepreneurs to fail. Deadly mistake number 1 is thinking your LLC protects you just because you filed it. Now that couldn't be more false. When I litigated, I sued business owners with LLCs and I held them personally liable because I could prove that their LLC was basically an alter ego of their personal life. Now, I've also defended business owners who I was able to protect from personal liability because they handled their business properly. So whatever you do, don't make the deadly mistake of thinking just because you have an LLC, you're protected. And in most of the cases, you aren't, unless you're actually doing real compliance. And 99% of entrepreneurs don't, because they don't play defense. Now, deadly mistake number 2 is not treating your company like a real company. If you have an LLC, the law requires you to follow corporate formalities and regulations. Do you know what they are? Because if you don't, you're not treating your company like a company. And now you're exposed to an enemy or a mistake that's just waiting. Now, deadly mistake number 3 is not knowing when to create multiple entities. Having one entity operating several businesses while holding assets is an extremely amateur, deadly mistake that it seems everyone is making, and it's got to stop before you lose it all, because I've been in court on those cases. So your best defensive strategy is to learn LLC compliance and the factors a court looks at to hold you personally liable, because it's not the fact that you filed the LLC that really matters. Number 2, you got to institute best practices drafted by an attorney who is experienced in business and understands LLC operations and your business as well. And number 3, get an experienced attorney you can talk to about legal structures, multiple entities, and liability protection before you make any moves. Anyone can file for an LLC, you can hire anyone. It's not really that important. What's important is compliance and having the right contracts and right relationship with the attorney to advise you on how to comply with your LLC. Now let's jump to danger zone number 3, brand and intellectual property. This is very important because it's your brand, it's your reputation. Protect it with your life, because it is your life, your name, your logo, your content, your ideas. That's what makes your business unique and it's also what makes you a target. Competitors are watching, and they'll rip you off the second they know that you're weak. So deadly mistake number one is not trademarking your name and protecting your assets. It's really not that difficult, and I have a workshop for it. The key is to make sure your trademark is fanciful or arbitrary, so you get the highest level of trademark protection. Deadly mistake number two is letting independent contractors own your content or your code. Now, I've seen this mistake way too often. It ends up in court. Entrepreneurs really lack an understanding of intellectual property rights, how they transfer their rights, work for hire clauses, and other issues. Make sure you own your IP and know how to stop someone from using it. Make sure you have a strong cease and desist letter. Now, deadly mistake number three is not protecting your client lists, your systems, your trade secrets, what makes you valuable. So many entrepreneurs leave their confidential information vulnerable to enemies, and that's one part of business defense that needs to be systemized, just like you systemize funnels and emails, so that your confidential data is always protected from the enemies on the inside and those on the outside. So your defense strategy has to be file for trademark protection, register your copyright. If you don't know how, ask me. Number two, lock down your IP in every single independent contractor agreement. And number three, protect your creative edge. It's who you are, both offensively and defensively. Flex your muscles if you have to, if anyone's infringing on your brand. Now let's get into danger zone 4. I love this danger zone, but entrepreneurs need to really be careful. We're talking about contracts and deal making. Now, as an entrepreneur, your contract can either be your best friend or your worst enemy. Every deal you sign will have its issues and problems. That's a guarantee. The question is, did you proactively plan against those issues, problems, and mistakes so that they don't become liabilities, so that they're written in your favor in case there's an issue? Unfortunately, most entrepreneurs don't prevent these mistakes or liabilities. They don't use contracts. And if they do, they don't read them, nor do they understand them. They'll just download them from the internet or get them from LegalZoom without even knowing who the lawyer was who drafted them. Has that lawyer been to court? Have they actually argued these provisions? Do they have any business experience? And worst of all, entrepreneurs are using contracts without that legal guidance or being able to ask an experienced attorney questions about them, and without understanding how to modify them for their specific situation, because that's how you make contracts battle tested. And it's contracts where I've seen entrepreneurs fail over and over. The ones starting, the ones scaling. It's contracts where they're vulnerable to enemies and mistakes, and it's something that can be fixed right away. Contracts are how partners screw each other. They're how clients refuse to pay. They're how ex-employees walk off with your systems and your assets. So don't make deadly mistakes when it comes to contracts. The first deadly mistake is using templates from Google or LegalZoom without knowing if that lawyer who's actually drafted them has any business experience or has actually been in court. Deadly mistake number 2 is skipping comprehensive client protection because you trust your partners and don't want to offend a third party. That's real amateur. And deadly mistake number 3 are vague contracts. They're almost worse than not having them, because if you don't define things clearly, you're going to end up in court in a lot of litigation, spending a lot of money, and you're likely going to lose, because every business owner loses in court. That's something I learned. I may win, and I have, but the business owner will lose. You'll lose money, time, stress, reputation, everything. So you have to have a strong defensive strategy. Every deal must protect your upside, but also limit your downside. You have to get contracts reviewed before, not after the fight. Make sure they are written by a lawyer with both court and business experience. Make sure that lawyers not only drafted contracts, but actually argued contracts in court. Most haven't. So if you have the right legal mentor by your side that can help explain and modify contracts, sneak in terms per deal, that will make your business legally bulletproof, and it will also scare off your challengers and your competitors because they know about your system and your lawyer. So let's go right into Danger Zone 5, marketing and compliance. This is the area that entrepreneurs love to play in. This is where they make the big money, but this is where the big liability is. So finally, your marketing, your ads, your offers, your funnels, you're totally focused on building your brand, your social media, your website, and your email campaign. You've literally systemized your offense, and now you're making advertising claims that are so powerful, they're getting you sales. But now you're in the danger zone, another danger zone. And what you don't need is another funnel, logo, or email campaign. You need an attorney and a business defense system inside your business to protect you from the enemies and mistakes that are coming, because they're coming. Because with success, you become a target, and you become even a bigger target. And this is where most entrepreneurs fall victim to their first big hit. They get confident, sloppy, and sued. They focus so much on sales and claims. They attract their enemies and mistakes, and they have no defense to protect them. So the three biggest deadly mistakes I see here are: number one, entrepreneurs who make claims that can be false, exaggerated, or unsubstantiated. These claims are business killers, and they can result in fraud. The second deadliest mistake entrepreneurs make in this zone is their misuse of testimonials and client success stories. And number three, most offers that entrepreneurs are making might be irresistible, but they're not legally bulletproof, which exposes you to so much liability, not just from customers, but also from the FTC and other of our cop enemies. Now, your defense strategy has to be: review your sales pages like a lawyer, not just a copywriter. Use clear terms, fair policies, and legal disclaimers. Make sure all claims are substantiated by third parties that are objective, otherwise use puffery. And number three, understand marketing and advertising laws as well as FTC guidelines. It's not that difficult. If you got questions, ask me. So let's recap what we've just covered. You now understand that there are 5 enemies every entrepreneur faces: their customers, competitors, the challengers, cops, and the crown. That's your own ego. It's what makes you great, but it's also your biggest enemy. Now, you've seen how these enemies thrive in the 5 danger zones of business that entrepreneurs need and love to play in. That's their mindset. That's LLC, business structure and compliance. That's brand protection, both offensively and defensively. Number 4 is contracts and deal making. And number 5 is marketing compliance. Like I said, there's a couple more danger zones, but for the purpose of this video and your fundamental understanding of business defense, these are the most important. So now you've learned that winning in business isn't about discovering some winning recipe, because there really isn't one. I've looked for it. It's about learning the losing recipe and avoiding the mistakes that make you lose using problem-solving techniques like inversion. So setting up a defensive system, having an experienced business attorney by your side is really how you legally bulletproof your business. I've spent nearly 20 years in court and also in business deals, helping entrepreneurs win and watching way too many of them lose. So here's your next step. I've created a free resource for you called the Business Defense Cheat Sheet. This is where you can get a summary of the mistakes I mentioned and the enemies and how to avoid them. Now, second and most important, I've created a free business defense self-audit just for you to take an honest look and inventory of your business and see if you're exposed to the threats we discussed here, enemies and mistakes that you really didn't know were coming. Download this audit and take the time to answer the questions honestly. It will walk you through these danger zones as well as the enemies and alert you to these threats. Then, if you like, email us your answers and we will be happy to review it for you. Now, here's the big kicker. If you qualify, I'll give you a free one-on-one business defense mastermind. That's a $7,500 value to address your business threats, explain how we can solve them together, and give you a playbook to do that. So take advantage of this audit now to make sure you're legally protected. It's worth thousands, but it's yours for free. And if you're ready to go even deeper, to get a personal relationship with me as your mentor, check out the Legally Bulletproof Academy for entrepreneurs, where we teach this business defense system, where I equip entrepreneurs with my legal guidance, my strategies, and contracts that I have developed over the last 20 years that are battle-tested and business-friendly. So now that you understand business defense at its most basic level and how to legally bulletproof your business, we need to take a deeper dive into another big problem area of entrepreneurs: their offers. Now, while most entrepreneurs have been trained to make Alex Hormozi style irresistible offers, I know I have, they have not been trained on how to make these offers legally bulletproof. And that's a big mistake that will eventually turn into a legal nightmare. Making your irresistible offers legally bulletproof is something every entrepreneur has to do so you can make offers with confidence that clients can trust, so you can scale without lawsuits chargebacks, or fear of deceptive advertising claims. I'll show you how it's done in the next video coming up, or just click below and make sure you don't miss that video, because there I'm offering a free offer disclaimer that you can just add to your offers right now. Don't just be successful, be legally bulletproof.